the game. Rutgers, the daunting Scarlet Knights.
Mm-hmm.
Let me just say, Corey, I believe this a little bit I've seen of them, and the fact that with some fortuitous bounces of the ball, they did beat Michigan State, who isn't awful, but I don't think they're necessarily anything other than average. But they won that game, and they looked way more competent than they had in spurts against Indiana. They improved.
Where it was happening, thinking, what year is this?
They look. You know, I guess this is what you should say about Rutgers. They look way less athletic than a elite or really good football team, but actually somewhat disciplined and coherent. So I think that's what Greg Schiano brought to them. So that's
need to give Schiano a lifetime contract. It's never going to get better than him. And he, for whatever reason, he needs to take that contract. You're not going to go to a Power 5 program and turn it around. You just need to stay there and do the best you can, because for whatever reason that area works for him.
Yeah, and it is talent rich. If he can if he can do what Mike Loxley does, and every now and then keep one of those high 4 stars, 5 stars there for some
unknown reason, of them per year. Yep.
And then get the 3-star talent from around, then he could just be bad. Like I said, Rutgers can improve a lot and just be bad. I think they're there. I think they've improved so much, Corey, that they're just regular bad, or maybe even painfully below, slightly below average, or below average right now is maybe how to describe them.
No, they're bad.
Yeah. So would you say bad, not yet below average?
No, they're not yet below average. They're just bad.
Okay.
They're going to win probably 3 games this year or something, but that's still better than what they've been.
Yeah, I mean, 3-6. I mean, out of 12 games or 9-game season, that's
right. Okay, take that to 2 games. Forget it.
Then they've already got one of them out of the way.
Yeah, that's true. It ain't gonna, and then the second one ain't coming this week either.
Okay.
But yeah, I agree with you. I've seen them on 2 games now. I actually enjoyed watching them against Indiana, because it was it wasn't just one of those games against Rutgers like last year when Indiana beat them 35-0 last year. Michigan State beat them 27-0 last year. It was just pitiful to watch. It's like Rutgers is up on the schedule. Who cares? Even if it's Ohio State Rutgers, who cares?
We can't really.
As much as we love Ohio State, it was like, why even watch that pile of crap? It's just like, it's just going to be a beating. To Rutgers' credit, last year we obviously went to sleep a little bit during the game and they competed a little bit, but we knew what the end result was going to be. It was over. It's just, who cares? But then they go and hire Schiano, probably the greatest coach in Rutgers history. And they're back to being right away, by the way. He got a lot of transfers. He got a lot of decent recruits. I think he was in the top 25 at one point in the rankings for recruiting. He's not a bad recruiter. He's a relentless recruiter. And he actually said credits Urban Meyer for teaching him to be a more relentless recruiter. And not a bad coach. And I will always pull for him to do better at Rutgers than anybody does at Tennessee for what Tennessee pulled with him. But in fact, I'd love for Rutgers and Tennessee to meet up in a bowl game and then Rutgers to surprise them. But
could you imagine?
Dude, we would never. This would be a Rutgers fan show after that.
I mean, I would celebrate. You saw how hard I was rooting for Boston College against Clemson because of Hafley.
I was right there with you. Yeah.
I would be rooting that hard in that game. I mean, I don't know that I would set something on fire.
Yeah, you would. You do that anyway.
I would get pretty close. I mean, in Florida, it would be hard to differentiate in your neighborhood because things are set on fire all the time.
True. And there's smoke everywhere.
Right. They're better, Corey, because I was able to talk about them and actually finish my candy bar.
Without puking.
Yeah, not at all. So they're better. I think maybe what we'll see here is them look lined up competently. They'll be able to do things like stuff a few run plays. Our running game's not great anyway. Schiano is going to have a good defense. It probably forces them to do what we talked about. They're never just going to let you hand the ball. Teams aren't just going to opt to let you hand the ball off and run it down their throat. So without some diversity in the run game, there will be some run plays that they're going to be good enough to stuff, right? And that's not saying our run game's that bad. That happens when you run the ball 20, 30 times, right? Some plays are going to get stuffed. I don't care who you play against. They'll be able to do things like that. Sometimes they put a good hat on a hat in running, and they spring a good run. They'll spring a run now and then. But like you said, they actually throw the ball even more than we do. So maybe Maybe, we see the ball move from time to time. Maybe it looks something like last year, actually, because they overperformed and we underperformed last year. And I think we won something like 59-21. I could actually see the same score, but the score is indicative of actually a much more competitive team, not because of, like you said, us sleepwalking.
Possibly, but their offense, besides a couple of nice runs, is fairly putrid again this year. Look, they average about 29 points per game so far, which isn't bad. It's not bad for them. Of course, the offense, not offensive explosion, but all the 7 turnovers when Michigan State produced for them in the first game led them to 38 points. They only scored 21 against Indiana. They're getting about 17 first downs per game. Only about 261 yards, 262 if you want to round up, per game, and they're allowing around 370 per game against two. Let's just say this: they're not off against two offenses that are nowhere near as good as ours. And their offensive efficiency, they get about 72 plays a game is pretty good. They run pass about 50-50. Yards per play, Johnny, is only about 3.6 yards per play though. Yards per pass, 4.6 yards per play. To compare that, we're about 10.8 right now. Yards per rush, 3.1 yards per rush. You know how bad our run game's been, Johnny? We're averaging 4.5 yards per rush to their 3.1. Points per play, only about 0.4 points per play. Third down conversion are about 30%. That's really bad. We're at 60% for comparison's sake.
60's good. 60's kind of where you want to be. Yeah,
exactly. So their offense, I got to say, Johnny, is nothing to be scared of. They have a couple, I don't even want to call them playmakers. Their quarterback, let's see, Noah Vedrell. I don't know how to say his name. He's completing about a 62% clip, 4.7 average, 3 TDs, 4 picks, been sacked
4.7 an attempt. That dink and dunk game is strong.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, their leading running back is Isaiah Pacheco, and I swear I heard the commentators bragging this guy up in the Indiana game. He's averaging 3 yards a carry. He's 28 carries, 85 yards. They have one guy, that big play guy they got is another running back by name Karan Adams, and he's got 5 carries, 63 yards, 12.6 average. Maybe look out for him a little bit.
Yeah, maybe they get him on the edge or something.
Exactly. Their leading receiver is, again, the running back, Isaiah Pacheco, over 9 catches. Bo Melton's a receiver there, is at 8 catches. Nobody has over 100 yards. Melton has 2 touchdowns. So their offense, there's nothing that screams, like watch out with their offense. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So but the thing is, our defense hasn't been great. But so what's going to happen here is if our defense looks good this game, it's going to be kind of fool's gold again. Like, hey, our defense looked great, but yikes, that offense is bad.
Yeah, I think they'll be the worst offense we've played so far.
Easily.
Because I actually think Nebraska is going to have a respectable run game. I think they're going to have a respectable run game. I do. And make short and efficient.
We all know Penn State's much more talented than Rutgers. So.
Yeah, I don't think Penn State's offense is a well-oiled machine or anything like that, but I do think it's certainly going to be better than Rutgers. So what I'm most interested to see this game is actually, it's like a tune-up game that we needed to see what we're going to do at slot corner. Okay, so are we gonna we've been going too high safety a lot more, where we set Williamson back where he's more of a safety. But sometimes he's probably gonna get some slot corner reps. There's no more Cam Brown on that nickel package. We bring in Brown and Proctor. Now I'm wondering, do we just bring in Proctor and put him in the slot? And I've heard he's been repping at slot corner, so non-third down reps. And that's probably what we end up doing, is playing more zone with a walkout linebacker with a Browning, right? And then having Josh Proctor and Marcus Williamson over the top.
Proctor's proving himself in that box safety spot, so you want to have him near the line of scrimmage anyway. If you have him in the slot, you can still play the run with him, where Williams has not been great against the run. So, I mean, not that he won't play, obviously, with the injury to Cam Brown, which speedy recovery prayers and thoughts to Cam Brown, obviously. Tore his Achilles. He's gone for the year. And when he went down, we were both saying that looks like an Achilles.
Yeah,
but it looked like the Kevin Durant injury, just leg popped. But losing him is a big blow, obviously. But you're right. How do we replace that? I think this is a great game that we don't really face a threat, but we can start to figure out who maybe suits that spot better. It's almost like a practice game in that sense. There's not necessarily anybody who's going to burn us. So maybe get Proctor the reps you absolutely need to have for him going forward.
Yeah. I think on third down, what you probably do some of the time, and on earlier pass downs, if they go extra, if we're going to do that, make walk out linebacker, mix up zone look, right?
Mm.
But I think sometimes what you'll do on third down, what we usually do is pull Borland. I think pull Williamson or Hooker and make the one that stays the one high safety. Mm-hmm. So we pull Borland, insert Proctor as basically a linebacker, a nickel linebacker, and then we insert Cam Brown in the slot. So now your speed
not
good
Brown because he's gone. But yeah.
Well, no, that's why. Hold on, let me finish.
No, I don't care what you have to say.
That's what we've been doing.
Yeah, I know.
Putting Brown in. So I wonder if you go ahead, keep Proctor at that third linebacker spot, that box safety spot, and then just throw Tyreek Smith in and say,
Johnson.
let's see if you can, Tyreek Johnson, say, let's see if you can do it. Let's see if you can do it. These guys ain't going to kill you. And if you're not very good, I'll just take you out of the game and we'll do something else.
Yeah, it'd be interesting. They let Tyreek play a little bit more and just look, just as a good practice run.
In that scenario, especially because who do you pick on if you're Rutgers in that scenario? I go right at Johnson.
Yeah.
Go right at him. And can you hold up? Can you hold up at least enough for the safety over the top to come help or whatever? I think that will be very interesting to watch.
We put Allen from Remember the Titans out there, please.
He's a liability. I mean, zone coverage underneath at the best, right?
Yeah,
at
exactly.
Best. Yeah. He's
and Petey's got to get his head in the game. So,
or we can always play Baron Browning at corner in the end zone.
Why not?
Seems like you can
do it. Against Rutgers,
right?
it might work. I mean, honestly, I maybe not in the Clemsons of the world, but maybe Rutgers of the world, he could do it.
Yeah, and this is the game you need to develop. Shortened season, we don't have all the reps to develop. This might be the game to where you make a Tyreek Smith, or I keep Tyreek Johnson better. It's maybe the game
really
where
want
you
him on the corner.
I don't though. It's fine where he's at. It may be a game where you make a Williamson get better. He's probably should have been supposed to be the guy anyway. Do you see? And then
gotta be better against the run. It's not his coverage; it's the problem.
And then at depth, do you say, all right, safety, once we get up by 30 points, hey, Bryson Shaw, go figure out how to be a center fielder or whatever we're wanting you to be. It would be,
I don't know.
It would be good to see, I don't know, the depth, the next wave of secondary players. And
I wonder if they'll let Kavassis or Watts play a little bit.
They would probably be more in a corner role.
No, I agree. But his safety role, they got Lathan Ransom's going to play. You know that much already.
As a freshman, true freshman.
Yeah, he played a little bit in the Penn State game. There's no way he won't play in this game.
That's true. That's true. It'll be interesting to see.
I want to see if Ronnie Hickman gets on the field. I mean, supposedly
he's not going to get on the field.
Well, supposedly he had a good camp. So where has he been? But of course, Cam Babb was having a good camp too, and he hadn't been on the field. So.
That is interesting. We can get out of here and make this a pretty short show, but that is something almost worth discussing. And I have no information on that court. We obviously need a third production guy in the receiver room, and it looks like it's being split between, JSN and Ruckert.
Well, Williams is starting to a little bit. He got a couple nice catches in the Penn State game.
Yeah, but Babb doesn't even seem like, I don't even see that he's getting snaps. I haven't seen him take snaps.
He's not on the unavailability chart, so it's like, well, he's there. Let him play.
Yeah,
but I think you know what. Ryan Day knows a little bit more about offense than we do. So